60-minute vinyasa class, we're gonna get started standing. So just come to a comfortable standing position at the top of your mat, okay? So we'll meet at the top of the mat, standing, feet about hip distance apart. Relax your arms by your sides, palms face forward. And take a moment to relax your shoulder heads back and down. And see if you can bring attention to your shoulder blades and draw them in towards your spine. So notice if that puffs out your chest a little bit. And maybe even take your fingertips to your front ribs and soften so you find that connection to center. If you haven't already, go ahead and close your eyes in this standing position. So if you're just joining us, welcome. We're starting standing. Right, feet hip distance, eyes closed, palms face forward by your sides. Just take a moment to notice anything that may be showing up. Maybe this feels a little jarring, right? If you've had a busy day, coming into the stillness, into the silence, could feel a little bit unfamiliar, uncomfortable. I'm just noticing right now, not placing any judgment. And see if you can allow each breath to become just a little bit more full than the last. Mindful that you're sending your breath all the way down deep into your belly. Right? So sometimes you could find it helpful to place your hand on your belly and really feel your belly inflate, your ribs, your chest. Exhale will soften. Tonight we'll just focus on evening out the breath. Right, so sometimes you can find it helpful to count breath. I find it helpful to stay around 4 or 5 seconds, but not getting too caught up in the number. You can use your inhale to count 3, 4, maybe 5, and just even out the exhale. So whatever number your inhale was, allow your exhale to be the same. Notice any urge to sway, to move, to fidget. Notice what it feels like to concentrate and pay attention to your breath. Right? Notice what it feels like to take a few deep breaths. Just read a short quote here by Happy Yoga. And Steve Ross, he says, "There's very little we can do by the time the horrors of the world show up on our doorstep. But yoga practice is one of the few activities that can focus the mind, open the heart, and reveal inner peace in the face of external chaos." Well, inner peace doesn't mean stuffing emotions away. It means allowing yourself to feel what is without suppression. It's a beautiful and very healing practice. When practicing yoga in times of intense drama or tragedy won't change what has already happened, but it can stop a cycle. So some yogis say that the world is a kind of training ground, that it's riddled with conflict for a good reason, to push you toward that which is beyond all duality. The chaos of the world can indeed be a great motivator for cultivating inner peace. And your own inner peace can be a great inspiration for the rest of the world. And keeping that idea of inner peace, right? How you find it, how you create it, how you keep it with you. As we move through class, use your breath in to take your arms up overhead and give yourself a full body stretch. Come into Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. And then take your hands down to prayer at heart center. Release your chin down towards your chest and just take a moment to set an intention. So your intention for class could be that notion of finding your inner peace throughout chaos. Maybe it's staying with breath or something else you've been working on cultivating. Together we'll all find a deep breath in through the nose. Open mouth exhale, let it go. Take your chin back up to parallel, and then reach your arms up overhead. And imagine you're climbing a ladder. You can bend into the knees, reach deeply with the left arm, and then change it out, reach deeply with the right arm. Right, so starting to just feel into side body. Find that length all the way underneath your armpit, down to your hip. Bend into the knees. Relax through the shoulders. See if you can release your jaw if you're holding it tightly. We'll take one more round each side, wherever you are, no rush. Come back through stillness, reach both arms up overhead, breathe in. Use your breath out to just release your hands by your sides. Take palms facing down to the tops of your thighs, feet still hip distance apart, bend into your knees and sit your hips back. We'll move through a seated cow-cat, so find your inhale and allow your shoulder heads to roll back, your heart to shine forward. Use the exhale to draw the belly button into the chest and round the upper back. You can even lengthen through the arms and press into the thighs. Stay with your breath. Inhale, heart shines forward. Exhale, round the upper back. Right? Lengthen through the arms, chin draws into chest. A few more times at your own pace. Inhale, heart forward. Exhale, belly button all the way into your spine. Right? Make this your own. You can take it as slow as you want, or perhaps you stay with those even breaths that we started with. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Last time, inhale, heart shines forward, tailbone lifts up. Right, exhale, round, pause, draw the chin all the way into the chest. Draw the belly button into the spine, lengthen the legs, and then just upper vertebra at a time, really just probably the thoracic, right, all the way back up. Reach your arms up overhead as you arrive. Urdhva Hastasana, one more full body stretch. Now this time take your hands by your sides and place them on your low back, fingertips face down, so right on the sacrum. Make sure your tailbone is rooting down, the low belly coming up, so you have a neutral pelvis here. And find a breath in, little bit of a bend into the knees. Use your breath out to find a gentle back bend. Draw your elbows in towards one another. So imagine you're taking this back bend through your upper thoracic spine, almost as if you're coming over a beach ball, but your lower spine, right, is still the lumbar. The tailbone is rooting down. Take one more breath in here. Now nice, slow and controlled, draw the belly button into the spine, come back through center. And then continue to lead with your heart, hinge right at your hips so your hands can slide down the backs of your legs, come into your forward fold. Now from here, keep your hands on your calves and maybe find a little bit of massage for calves. Maybe you bend through one leg the other, right? Check in, how are my hamstrings, how are my calves feeling tonight? And take a moment to just show your body some love here. Eventually, find your way back to stillness. Press your hands right back into your shins and reach the crown of the head forward to find your halfway lift. Exhale right back down into your forward fold, Uttanasana. One more time, lift, find length, long spine. Exhale, just fold. Plant the hands. Tap the right knee down to the mat. Toe heel that left foot forward just a little bit more. So the heel is a little bit past the knee. Sink a little bit deeper into your lunge and then sweep your arms up overhead. A low lunge, relax your inner shoulders. Reach the crown of the head up to the sky. Breathe in. Now use your breath out to release your hands by your sides. Toe heel your front foot forward just a little bit more. And then take it right into half split, half hanima. So you lengthen out through the left leg all together. Straight left leg, come up onto the left heel, toes face towards the sky. Your back hip right in line with your back knee. If you notice that, I'll come this way so you can see it. If you notice that your hip is way past the knee, you won't feel as much sensation through hamstring and calf. So you can walk that front foot forward even more. So the hip is in line with knee and you feel more of a sensation, more of a pull. Now if this is plenty, stay here. If you wanted to work into the IT band, you don't have any IT issues, you can allow your left toes to fall over towards your left hand. See if you can relax any tension through your neck while still creating a long spine here. Use your next breath in. If you haven't already, if you're in the IT stretch, right, come back through center, toes face the sky. We'll all re-bend the knee, come back into the lunge. Now plant the palms down, press into the palms and step back to table position. Keep your left foot lifted in flex. So I'll come this way so you can see. Bend to the knee and find some hip circles from here. So these can be really small, they can be slow. Perhaps if you're feeling higher energy, they're faster, or if you're feeling more spacious, they're larger. We'll go ahead and switch directions as you are ready. Staying on the left side, I'll just come this way so you can see for the next move. Now eventually come back through stillness, pause, and then extend your left leg all the way out to the side. Plant the left foot down onto the mat, walk your hands back to your right knee and sweep your arms up overhead, setting up for gate pose. Once again, relax your inner shoulders away from your ears, and then take your left hand down to your left thigh, your left shin, and take your top right arm alongside your ear. Once again, feel the length, the stretch through the side body, right? Breathing into those intercostal muscles, which are the muscles in between your ribs, right? Think about sending space there. Draw your belly button in to engage your core. Come back up through center. Come up onto the heel of your left foot, send the toes so they face out, and then find a bend into the knee, release the arms out. So you're essentially in a modified warrior two here. See if you can relax your shoulders a little bit, get a little bit deeper into this lunge if that feels okay. Grow tall in the spine, breathe in, reach your left fingertips forward, and then release left forearm down, right arm up alongside the ear. So modified side angle. Reach through your right fingertips for one more breath in. Engage the core, lengthen the left leg. We'll come right into modified triangle pose. That right arm reaches up. Left fingertips reach down. They can reach the mat or maybe they don't, doesn't quite matter. But see if you can draw your shoulder blades in towards one another and then towards your spine, right? So your heart is shining forward, maybe even puffing out a little bit. Go ahead and relax those ribs if you find you're puffing out too much, right? You still want to stay in your centered position here. And toes may face towards the sky if that feels accessible in your calf. And then nice and slow, come all the way back up. Release your right hand down this time. Keep your left arm up. Switch right into side plank. So you can adjust the knee underneath you, the right knee this time if you'd like. Maybe you stay here if you want to burn some energy. Maybe you float the left leg up. Right, flex and point the foot. Notice any different in sensation. If it feels accessible to you, maybe you take your top arm alongside your ear as well. You'll feel that full body stretch through heel to fingertip. One more inhale. Use the exhale to release the hands down, the feet down. We'll transition back to either table. Press into the palms. From here, you can lift the hips to the sky and find downward facing dog. Right, so you decide either table or down dog. All that I ask is that you honor your energy tonight, right? So don't push it. If table feels plenty, stay there. Wherever you are, find a deep breath in through your nose. Open mouth, exhale, right? Even exhale, just let it flow. Use your next breath in to float your right leg back behind you, either three-legged table or three-legged down dog. And then exhale, step your right foot forward in between your hands. We'll find a high runner's lunge on the way up. So back knee is lifted. Sink a little bit deeper into that lunge so you feel that length through your left psoas. Breathe in. Use your breath out to step right into your forward fold, Uttanasana. Lift and lengthen, inhale. Exhale, just fold right back down. Now bend the knees, sit the hips back as if you're about to sit into a chair, and then inhale, reverse swan dive, nice and slow, out wide up, Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. Exhale, hands come through prayer. Trace the midline all the way down. Just lead with your heart and hinge at your hips, fold right back down, Uttanasana. Lift and lengthen, breathe in. Fold forward, breathe out. Plant your palms, left foot goes back this time. Tap the left knee down so your right leg is leading. Toe heel the front foot forward a little bit more so heel is past the knee. As you're ready, ground down through your right foot and lift yourself up, low lunge. Relax your inner shoulders. See if you can square your hips a little bit more forward so that right hip pulls back, the left hip pulls forward, breathe in. Breathe out, release your hands to frame your front foot. Toe heel that front foot forward a little bit more. Sink into your lunge, inhale. Right into half honey mat, half split on the exhale. So that right leg is straight now. Left hip is once again in line with left knee, right? If it's not, toe heel the front foot forward a little bit more. Maybe toes face the sky. I know it's tempting to look at the camera the whole time, but we're not moving for a few breaths. So notice what it feels like to relax the tension through your neck. Just let it go. Maybe even rock the head side to side. Is your breath still even? Where is your mind? If you want to take it into that IT stretch, right, maybe the right toes face towards the right hand, fall over a little bit to the right. You should never feel any pain or pinching, right, just sensation. So back off if it's pain or pinching. We'll take one more inhale, and we'll use the exhale to meet back in the lunge. The toes face back up, plant the foot back down. Now plant your palms, press into the palms, and step it back to that table once again. Keep your right foot lifted. Flex your right foot and find those circles on this side. Notice any difference from side to side, right to left. Switch directions in your own time. Come back through stillness. And then use your exhale to extend your right leg out to the side this time. Plant the right foot down. Walk your hands back to your left leg and sweep your arms up overhead. Prep for gate pose, breathe in. Use the breath out to release right hand down, left arm up. So that right hand can come to the shin, the thigh. Breathe space into the side body here. To engage your core, draw your belly button into your spine and lift yourself back up. Both arms come up. Spin onto the ball of your right foot so the toes face out. You may need to drag your heel a little bit closer, then bend into the knee, release the arms out. Warrior two arms, essentially modified warrior two here. Right, maybe you can find a deeper lunge now that it's modified. Maybe you feel more spacious, maybe you don't. Right, but either way, grow tall, find a long spine, and then reach your right fingertips forward. Release your right forearm down, take your left forearm, or your left arm up. And maybe it extends to the sky, or maybe you have it alongside your ear for, once again, a longer, deeper stretch. Ground down through your right foot, breathe in. Now use your breath out to just lengthen through your right leg. Right toes can maybe meet the mat, maybe they don't, maybe just the shin or the knee. Extend the left arm all the way up. You think about drawing your shoulder blades in towards your spine, right? Sending your chest forward, your torso leaning back. Now draw your belly button in. Come back up through center, breathe in. We'll take it into that modified side plank. The left hand down, this time right arm up. Maybe you stay with the foot planted for most support, or if you have more energy to burn, perhaps you float the right foot up. Right, engage your core if it feels accessible and you want to. Take your top right arm alongside your ear. Find one more breath in, reach in two directions. Now use your breath out to release your hands forward, your knee back. We'll transition in your own time back to table or back to down dog. When you arrive in either position, find any organic movement that may be calling to you. Right, so if it's table, perhaps it's cat-cow. If it's down dog, maybe you pedal through one leg then the other. Eventually, come back to stillness. Extend your left leg back, breathe in, find length through that psoas, that hip flexor, and then use the breath out to step the left foot forward. Come right into that high runner's lunge, your back right knee is lifted. Come up onto your fingertips if that feels accessible. Shine the heart forward, breathe in. Step right into Uttanasana, forward fold, breathe out. Lift and lengthen, inhale, fold right back down, exhale. Bend the knees, inhale, move right into your Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute, out wide up. Exhale, hands come through prayer, heart center. And go ahead and release your hands by your sides, palms face forward. Come back to Tadasana, feet about hip distance apart. Check back in, right? Maybe even close your eyes altogether for a moment. Notice the urge to move, to sway. Or perhaps you're feeling tired. Notice the urge to sit down or stop. Right? Whatever's showing up, just notice. We'll move in through a few rounds of breath of joy. I'll demo the first round. So it's a 3-part inhale. Start from belly, then ribs, then chest. And one long exhale. So it starts inhale, arms forward, inhale, arms out, inhale, arms up. Open mouth exhale as you release the torso down halfway, palms face down. So you can join me this time. Inhale forward, inhale out, inhale all the way up, and then open mouth exhale, release. So inhale just for the belly, inhale all the way up to the ribs, inhale all the way up to the chest. Open mouth, exhale, release. 2 more times. Inhale, inhale out, inhale up, open mouth, exhale. 1 more time. Inhale it forward, inhale out, inhale up, open, exhale. Seal off the lips and reach the arms all the way back up overhead. Take a breath in through your nose. And then just release your hands to prayer. Release them into in front of your heart center. Once again, draw your chin down towards your chest for a moment. And allow that breath to sink in, that movement. And chin comes back to parallel. Release the arms by your sides. This time, take your feet together to touch. Little sliver of light between the heels. Right, your feet can be hip distance if you prefer hip distance chair pose. It's really up to you. It's probably a little bit more accessible for your hips and your knees. Right, so if that feels better, do that. If it feels okay, toes together, reach the arms forward, palms face up, breathe in. Use your breath out to sink your hips down for chair pose, Utkatasana. Look down, make sure that you can see your toes. If you can't, send your shins back. Relax through your shoulders, and you could even take your hand here to the small of your back. Notice if you're someone who has that large curve. I'm guilty of that. You want to think about hugging your thighs in together to just find that natural curve of your spine. And if you're someone who already has a rather flat back, most men do, you want to think about sending your hips back to, once again, find the natural curve. Take 1 more breath in. Use the breath out to just release into your forward fold, Uttanasana. Lift and lengthen, inhale. Fold right back down, exhale. Bend the knees, sit the hips back. Inhale all the way back up, Urdhva, full body stretch. Hands come through prayer, heart center. Now keep your hands in prayer and send all the way over to your right foot. Come up onto the ball of your left foot, breathe in. Use the breath out to just rotate the left hip out to the side for tree pose. Imagine your hips are headlights, they're still facing forward. It's just your knee that's opening up to the side. If this is plenty, stay here. If you're feeling balanced, perhaps the inside of the left foot comes to the calf, or maybe you use your hand to assist into the inside of the right thigh. Right, we're balancing on right leg first. Now find a drishti, a steady focal points. Or perhaps if you're feeling super steady, super stable, you close your eyes altogether. Notice what that does to your perspective, your balance. If it feels accessible to you, perhaps you reach your arms up overhead, grow your tree. Inhale. And we'll stay in this tree pose shape, but if your foot is connected, just unconnect, breathe in. We'll use the breath out to step the foot back, come right into warrior 2. Take a nice wide stance, plant your left foot down, and then find a big bend into your right leg. So left foot back, right leg forward, bend into the right leg. Press down through the outer knife edge of your left toe so you lift your inner arch. And just like we did before in that modified warrior 2, find length, grow tall. Reach the right fingertips forward on a breath in, then release right forearm down, left forearm alongside your ear for side angle pose. Draw the belly button in to engage the core and transition back on a breath into warrior 2. Keep the bend to the right leg, flip your front palm, breathe in, reverse your warrior. Draw the belly button in, exhale takes you back to warrior 2. Inhale, reach the right arm forward, release the right arm down, left arm up, side angle pose. 1 more time, inhale takes you back through warrior 2, all the way to reverse warrior. And then exhale this time right into your side angle pose. Draw the belly button in on an inhale, come back to warrior 2. Lengthen through your right leg, shorten your stance. Think about sending your left hips all the way back as you reach your right fingertips all the way forward. Imagine wrapping your right thigh underneath you. That'll put your pelvis at a bit of a diagonal and create even more space for your shift into Trikonasana, triangle pose. So right fingertips down, they can be supported by your shin, your knee, your thigh, right? Or the mat if it's accessible, maybe not. Reach the top arm up. And see if you can send the torso back and the hips forward. And just as we did before, draw the shoulder blades in towards the spine. Now engage your core from here. Lift all the way back up. Rebend the knee. We'll meet back into warrior 2. Inhale. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the mat. Press into the palms and step back to plank pose, top of a push-up. Shoulders right in line with wrists, hips in line with shoulders. Pause for the breath in, shift slightly forward. Tap the knees down and use your exhale to lower all the way down to the belly with control. Shift into your back bend of choice. So maybe that's a baby cobra, little to no weight in hands. Perhaps you want to get a little higher, lengthen through the arms. If up dog's in your practice, floating the knees, maybe that's where you're at. One inhale. We'll shift through table. Maybe you stay there, or maybe you take your exhale all the way up to downward facing dog. Come back to stillness if you're not already there. Find a big bend into your knees, or if you're in table, curl the toes, float the knees, breathe in. Walk, step, or find a light hop if you wanted it to the top of the mat. Lift, find length, breathe in. Fold forward, breathe out. Inhale right into your Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute all the way up overhead. Exhale, hands come through prayer, heart center. Now once again, toes together to touch, shoulder of light between the heels. Reach the arms forward, palms face down this time, breathe in. Sit the hips back and down as you breathe out, chair pose. Right? Notice what feels better in your shoulders, palms up or down. If neither really feel great, maybe cactus arms would feel better. Take those shoulders a little bit further away from the ears. And see if you can find your breath in to get a little bit higher, and use your breath out to sink a little bit deeper. One more inhale. One more exhale. Next breath in, lengthen the legs, reach your arms all the way up, back to Urdhva Hastasana, full body stretch. Exhale, hands come back to prayer, heart center. All the weight shifts into the left foot this time, come up onto the ball of the right foot, breathe in. Open up to tree pose on your breathe out, so hips stay facing forward, just the knee out. Maybe this is plenty. If you're feeling balanced, perhaps you slide the foot up. Maybe you assist it all the way up to the inner thigh. See if you can stay engaged in your core, your tailbone drawing down. Focused on your drishti. Focused on your inner peace. Notice what it feels like to feel focused, to stay with your breath. Maybe you grow your arms up overhead. No matter what's going on around you, can you still stay in your body? And your peace and your breath. Now from here, keep your right knee open out. Just unconnect the foot to the leg and then step it. Take a nice wide step back. Come right into your warrior two. So that right foot is pressing down through the outer knife edge to lift your inner arch. Big deep bend into the left leg. Grow tall through the crown of the head. Inhale. Reach the left fingertips all the way forward. Left arm down, right arm up. Exhale. Side angle pose. Take your top arm alongside your ear. Reach it a little bit further. And then draw the belly button all the way in. Shift back to warrior two. Find your breath in. Flip your front palm. Reverse your warrior. Slide your right hand down your right leg. Use your next exhale to come back through warrior two and right down to side angle pose. Forearm down, top arm up. Use your next breath in to engage your core. Lift yourself all the way up through center and reverse your warrior. Stay committed to that lunge on the left side. Exhale, come back through center. Grow tall, shorten your stance, lengthen your left leg completely. Right hip reaches back this time. Left fingertips reach forward as you roll your left hip underneath you. It'll place your pelvis on a diagonal and create more space in your side body as you transition right into your Trikonasana triangle pose. And think about allowing your torso to fall back slightly as you send your hips forward. Now for most support in your neck, the gaze will be down. If you want to challenge your balance, perhaps you send the gaze all the way up to the ceiling to your top right hand. Allow your top arm to lift you back up on an inhale. Rebend the left leg, and then exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the mat. We'll come back through high plank, top of the push-up, shoulders in line with wrists. This time, your choice, knees up or down. Breathe in, shoulders slightly over wrists. Lower all the way down to the belly on the breath out. Inhale to your back bend of choice, right? Cobra or up dog. Exhale through table. Maybe you stay there, or maybe you lift your hips to the sky for downward facing dog. Notice what it feels like to find stillness as soon as you arrive where you are. Maybe you have a habit of always pedaling the right and the left leg before you find stillness. Right? What would it feel like to switch it up a little bit? If your autopilot is different, right, can you still find that inner peace? Is it still within you, even when things look or feel slightly different? Now from your table or your downward facing dog, float your right leg back behind you on an inhale. And just as we did before, bend the knee and open the hip. Find some hip circles here. Take them forward. Switch it out, take them back. Back through stillness. Exhale, square off the hips. Your next inhale, whenever it comes, step your right foot forward in between your hands. If you're in your table, curl your back toes, float your back knee. We'll all meet in warrior two. I'll face this way so you can see me. We'll all meet in a wide stance warrior two as you're ready. Now from this warrior two, use your breath in to lengthen your right leg, transition your heels in, your toes out, and then sink your hips back, bend into your knees, come right into your goddess pose, have your palms on your thighs face down. Relax your shoulders, right? If this is plenty, stay here. Maybe you find a slight pulse. If it feels accessible in your shoulders, perhaps you take your arms out into goddess arms. Maybe you find a rock side to side, or maybe you're just craving some stillness. Wherever you are, wherever you settle, close your eyes. Reconnect to that even inhale, even exhale. How do I show up in times of challenge, in times of discomfort? Knowing that your breath is always with you. Come back to stillness if you're not already there. Lengthen through your legs, reach your arms up all the way up overhead. 5-pointed star, breathe in. Back to warrior two, facing the front of your mat, inhale. Exhale, release your arms to frame your front foot. We'll send the gaze forward on an inhale, high runner's lunge. Step to the top of the mat on your exhale. Come right into your forward fold, Uttanasana. Lift, find length, breathe in. Just fold, breathe out. Bend the knees, sit your hips back as you inhale into Urdhva arms out wide up, reach tall overhead. Exhale, hands come through prayer, heart center. Reach right back up, breathe in. Swan dive down, lead with your heart, hinge right at your hips, fold and bow. Inhale, lift, find length. Exhale, fold right back down. Plant your palms. You decide, you could step back to plank pose if you want it. Option for chaturanga if that's in your practice. Or you could step right back to table, right? Eventually, we will meet in down dog or table. So in your own way, in your own time. As always, I encourage, right, make this practice your own. From your downward facing dog or your table, float your left leg back behind you this time. Find those hip circles on this side. Right, so if down dog doesn't feel accessible, table's great. Right, switch directions as you're ready. Come back through stillness on an exhale, square off the hips and step the left foot forward. If you were in the table, curl your back toes, float your back leg. We'll all meet in a warrior two. I'll face this way so you can see me, but the left leg is leading for warrior two. Big bend in the left leg. Now from here, inhale, lengthen the left leg. Heels come in, toes point out. It'll look different on every body, but heels slightly in, toes out. That's how you want this set up. And then use your exhale to sink the hips down, knees in line with ankles, right? So hands can be at hips or palms on thighs if that feels more accessible. And goddess arms are also an option if that feels good. And your shoulders. And this time, everyone finds stillness here. Close your eyes and reconnect to your breath. Feel your belly inflate, your ribs expand, your chest widen. right? And use the exhale to surrender, to soften from the chest, then the ribs, then the belly. Sink a little bit deeper at the bottom of that exhale. And then lengthen the legs, reach your arms up overhead. Find your breath in. Breath out, warrior two, to the top of your mat. Breathe in. Breathe out, cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot. Come up onto the ball of the back foot, high runner's lunge. Gaze goes forward, inhale. Step forward on the exhale, right into your forward fold. Lift on an inhale, just fold back down on your exhale. Bend the knees a lot. Inhale right into your Urdhva Hastasana, out wide up, arms reach up overhead, full body stretch. Exhale, hands come through prayer, heart center. Back to where we began. Release your arms by your sides, feet hip distance apart, palms face forward. Bring awareness to your shoulder heads. See if you can draw them slightly back. Right, and once again, do you need to take your fingertips to your ribs and soften your front ribs so you're not jutting your chest out too much, but you're finding that connection to your center. So you can grow a little bit taller, breathe in. Use your breath out to just take your right ear over to your right shoulder. You can find stillness here, or maybe you move your chin up and down, side to side. Eventually come back through stillness if you hadn't already been there. Use the breath in to reach the head back up, and then left ear to left shoulder. Maybe you move the chin up and back, side to side. Come back through stillness. Head comes back up through center. Grow a little bit taller. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Open mouth, exhale as you swan dive down. Lead with the heart, hinge right at the hips and fold. Lift, find length, breathe in. Just fold right back down, Uttanasana. Take a moment of pause in your forward fold and pedal out through your legs a little bit. So you can stay in your halfway lift if you have low blood pressure or forward fold doesn't feel accessible. Otherwise, come up onto your fingertips from your forward fold and find a big bend into your left leg. And then release left heel down, big bend into right, right heel to left. Right, switch it out from there. Check back in with calves, hamstrings. Maybe you find a little bit more space throughout your body. Maybe you don't. Next time your right heel is lifted, pause. And then release the heels back down, bend into the knees. Inhale right back up into your upward salute, Urdhva Hastasana. Take your hands to prayer at heart center. Feet hip distance apart if they're not already there. Sweep your arms all the way up overhead this time. Palms face back behind you. Breathe in. Bend into your knees. Breathe out. Share pose. Right? Inhale, lift a little bit higher. Use the exhale to take it into airplane arms. So lower the torso halfway. Palms face down. Use the inhale to lift right back up. Utkatasana, chair pose, arms up overhead. Option for open mouth exhale as you lower your torso down halfway, airplane arms. A few more times at your own pace. Inhale, lifts, Utkatasana. Exhale, stay in the Utkatasana legs, just the arms and the torso folds. One more time, inhale, lift, open mouth, exhale, release. Reach right back up, breathe in. Take your hands through prayer, trace the midline all the way down, breathe out. Find your halfway lift, take a breath in. Fold right back down, breath out. Plant your palms and step back. Right, optional chaturanga if you want it, lower down halfway, elbows in line. And pointing back behind you. If you aren't feeling chaturanga tonight, but you wanted to build a little bit more strength in your shoulders, you can hold plank for a moment or two. Eventually, we will meet in child's pose. And if it feels accessible to you, take a wide-legged child's pose. So toes are together to touch, knees out wide. Sink your torso in between your thighs and reach your arms all the way forward. If you wanted an active child's pose, have the forehead down onto the mat, but press into the palms and lift your forearms. If your shoulders are screaming back at you there, acknowledge them, listen to them, and reach your arms back behind you. Rest the forearms on top of your thighs or the mat. As you begin to settle into child's pose, rock your head side to side, massage your brow bone. You don't need your jaw for this pose, so you can release it. Do a little body scan here, a little check-in. Where am I holding tension? Where can I find my inner peace? Can you keep going back? No matter what the world offers you. Can you trust that you can always still find your inner peace? It's always still there. Within your breath, within the softening of tension in your body. Together, we'll take one more breath in. Let's find an open mouth exhale. If your arms are reached back behind you, just stretch them long, press into your palms, glide forward back to your table position, hands and knees. Now from table position, send the heart forward, and the tailbone lifts, cow pose. Exhale, round the upper back, chin pulls into chest. A few more times. Right, send the heart forward on an inhale, lower the belly down. Exhale, pull the belly button in, chin pulls into chest, round the upper back, press the mat away so you're really feeling that opening from the back of your heart, the back of your chest. Come back to a neutral, flat spine as you're ready. Now from here, if table feels good, stay there. Otherwise, curl the toes, lift the hips, down dog. Right, find your breath in from table or from down dog and extend your right leg back behind. Use your breath out to walk your hands forward if you're in table. We're shifting into pigeon pose so that right knee comes right behind the right wrist. I'll come this way so you can see me. Right knee right behind right wrist. Take a gaze over your left shoulder. Make sure your left leg is straight, toes point back behind. If pigeon doesn't feel accessible in your body tonight for any reason, doesn't matter, come onto your back, come into figure 4 with right leg, right ankle crossed over, left thigh. Right, if pigeon feels okay, make sure that the weight is even. So if you find you're dumping all the weight onto the right side, you're really not going to get as much of a stretch there. Right, so maybe it might feel good to sneak a little pillow or a blanket underneath so your hips stay even here. And of course you can stay upright if that feels best, or you can walk your hands forward if that feels accessible. Form a pillow with your hands and rest your forehead right on top of your pillow. Maybe you come back to the even inhale, even exhale if you've lost it. Notice your mind wandering. Can you imagine your mind as a waterfall? And imagine yourself, your body sitting next to that waterfall. So you're not getting wet, you're not underneath it. You are just observing the fluid water running down, observing your thoughts moving through your mind, maybe even admiring how strong your mind is, how it always goes. It's always working. But not attaching to the thoughts, not running away with the stories, the chaos, but staying in your inner peace. If you're in your figure 4 on your back, go ahead and just release and find some release through your legs on your back. You can meet us back in down dog if that feels good. Right, if you're in your pigeon, slowly begin to walk your hands up if they weren't already there. Hands right underneath shoulders, curl the back left toes, float the back left leg, and take it right in back to three-legged table or to three-legged down dog. We'll take one more hip roll from there. So flex the right foot, just allow the blood to rush back in. If you were in your figure 4 and you stayed on your back to release out your leg, go ahead and switch the sides as you're ready. So now the left ankle crosses on top of right thigh. Right? If pigeon feels accessible tonight, make sure no pain or pinching, right? Of course, just sensation. We'll take the left leg back, breathe in. If you're in your table, you might need to walk your hands forward a little bit to create a little bit more space. Left knee comes right behind left wrist. Take a gaze over your right shoulder. Make sure your right leg is straight. Back through center, right? Make sure you're not dumping all the weight onto the left side body. It'll just be less of a stretch that way. Hips stay even. Maybe you even slide something underneath. And then maybe you stay upright here, or if it feels accessible, you can walk your hands forward. Mindful that you have little to no weights through your shoulders, right? So sometimes a pillow supporting the head can feel nice. And back to observing, admiring that waterfall. Admiring the flow of your thoughts without getting caught up in them. Right? We're not getting wet. We're just watching, noticing. If you're in your figure 4 on your back, stay there. We'll meet you there. Go ahead and release in any way that feels comfortable to you. If you're in your figure 4, left leg leading, come back up onto your hands. Place them right underneath your shoulders. Curl the back right toes. Float the leg and send the left leg back, either 3-legged table or 3-legged down dog, depending on your energy. Find those hip circles. Allow the blood to rush back in. If you're looking to burn a little bit more energy before you really wind it down, maybe you take one more plank pose or chaturanga if you want it. And taking a moment to notice if it's what your body needs or if it's what your mind thinks it wants. There is a difference. Eventually, if you're not already there, meet us in table. Send the hips back to the heels, swing the legs around, and whatever is most comfortable for you, whatever way, will come all the way down onto back. Right, from your position on your back, if you notice that you don't have a pillow nearby or a blanket, but you know you want one for Shavasana, take this time right now to go ahead and grab that pillow, blanket, make sure it's nearby if you want it for Shavasana. Right, everyone else will meet on the back. Draw your knees into your chest. You can grab a hold of the backs of your thighs or your shins and find a gentle rock side to side here. If knees to chest feels plenty, stay there. If happy baby feels accessible to you, you'll take your knees wide, the width of your torso, or maybe even a little bit wider, and send your knees up into your armpits. And notice that the goal of this pose is to find length through the tailbone. So if you notice your tailbone is really lifted up off the mat and you're grabbing for the outside of your feet, perhaps you grab for the outside of your thighs instead. If you're craving stillness, take it. If you want a little bit more movement, maybe you stretch one leg then the other. Eventually, we'll come back to stillness. If you're in the happy baby, take your knees back into chest. We'll all meet back, knees into chest. Breathe in. Now use your breath out to release the feet down onto the mat. Now stay with me. Release your arms out to the sides, palms face up so you find your external rotation. Press into the feet just enough to lift the hips and slide the hips over to the left. Just an inch or two, nothing crazy. Release the hips back down. Draw the belly button in, engage the core, bring the knees back up, and then send both knees over to the right. So we're taking a recline twist, knees to the right. We sent our hips to the left a little bit first to create more space in the spine, more space for this twist. If it feels accessible in your your neck area, you can send your gaze into the opposite direction. And if you have any cervical spine issues, you can keep the gaze in the same direction as your knees. option to release any breath control that you're working with. Notice what it feels like to just fall back into the natural rhythm, your natural pace. Core engaged. Use your inhale to lift the legs back up through center. Tap the toes down. Release the hips back through center. Just take a moment to pause. Press your low back, your lumbar spine down into the mat. And then press into the feet just enough to lift the hips. Send the hips over to the right an inch or two. Nothing crazy. Release the hips down. Bring the knees up. Breathe in. Both knees over to the left this time on the exhale. So twisting knees over to the left. We sent the hips over to the right a little bit. Just create that space through your spine. Maybe your gaze towards the opposite direction of your knees if that feels accessible in your neck. If it feels too intense, just send the gaze in the same direction as your knees. On your next inhale, there's no rush. Transition back. So square off the hips. You can set the feet down. So square off the hips a little bit, right? And then draw the knees back into the chest on the inhale. Find one more little rock side to side. Massage through your lumbar spine, right? Realign the spine here. Back through stillness. Release the feet down. Now toe heel your feet out wide, the width of the mat. Knock your knees in together to touch. Take your right hand to your heart and place your left hand right on top of your right hand. Allow your eyes to close if you haven't done so already. Use this time to check back in. What is my body craving in this moment? Perhaps consider how often you actually ask yourself that question. Right? So often we move through our day not really noticing what our body needs. I'm just kind of moving on autopilot. Right? I know I am most of the day. So take this time to be mindful. Perhaps you wanted a longer twist. Maybe you wanted a bridge pose, another happy baby, deeper hip opener. Perhaps you'd like a gentle inversion. If so, you can just send your legs straight up to the sky. If you have a wall that's nearby, maybe you scoot up next to the wall, hips right against the wall, and send the legs long. We'll stay for about 7 to 10 more breaths. If you were taking a long twist, just mindful that you switch sides in the next few breaths. There's no rush. As you are ready to settle into your final resting pose, Shavasana, take up space. Allow your feet to fall wider than your knees and allow your knees to fall wider than your hips. Maybe even take your arms out like a T. You can allow your palms to face up to accept the gifts of this practice. Maybe even slightly tuck your shoulders underneath you to find a little bit more opening across your chest. Allow your eyes to soften to a close. Allow your lips to slightly part. allow your mind to wander. Right? Come back to that waterfall, just admiring it, watching it, noticing where it goes. Shavasana. Allow your next inhale to come through your nose. Open mouth, exhale, release. There is very little we can do by the time the horrors of the world show up on our doorstep. But yoga practice is one of the few activities that can focus the mind, open the heart, and reveal inner peace in the face of external chaos. And begin to deepen your breath and begin to find movement in your body. Wiggle through your hands, your toes, your wrists, your ankles. Shift your jaw side to side. And if it's calling to you, perhaps you reach your arms up overhead. Find one final full body stretch. Breathe in. Roll off onto your right side on your breath out. Ground down through your right forearm. And then just gently lift yourself up into a comfortable seated position. From your seated position, take your hands to prayer at heart center and draw your chin down to your chest. Just take a moment of pause. How is my breathing? Where is my mind? Shift your thumbs to your third eye. The light inside of me honors the light inside of you. Namaste. Thank you all so much. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Otherwise, I hope you have a lovely evening.